angusha watu chini, naua watu. Ndio naua watu walikuwa place situation kwa wapi? Mungu wa mbinguni hema. Watu wananguka.
Unaona mamaiti pale?
Well, there has been an explosion at an M23 rally today in Bukavu. That is part of the story that I'm going to tell you in this video, as well as the person that was alleged to be targeted in this particular explosion and the parties that are being accused to be behind this explosion. In this video, I'm also going to discuss the recommendations that were given by countries of the East African Community and the Southern Africa Development Community, and what this explosion now has changed in terms of the resolutions that were agreed by both parties. Well, this is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on the M23, Rwanda, DRC, or Burundi, or even South Africa, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, this has not been the first popular meeting that the M23 has had in its territories. These meetings have been held in Goma and Bukavu, in the northern Kivu and southern Kivu, in different towns and territories where the M23 has taken hold of. It is part of the M23's strategy to get closer to the population, to explain why they are there. And this is a change of authorities to just convince them to support the authority now that the M23 is in charge. And this was the mood of the crowd just before the explosions in today's meeting in Bukavu.
Rudisha viti ya bati. Dans les 48 heures, benye maliba viti ya bati wairudishe.
As you have seen in those pictures, the M23 has been widely welcomed in different territories where they have taken hold. Goma, Bukavu, Kamanyola, and other towns and cities in eastern DRC have largely welcomed the M23, or as perceived, they have welcomed the M23 in their territories. And the M23 is saying one thing. They are saying that they are going to give hope to these particular cities and populations in eastern DRC and people that have felt left out in the administration in the DRC. And today's meeting was not different. There were a lot of people in the arena and they were chanting the M23. They were singing the M23 song. And there were people of high ranks in the M23 right in that arena to address these people. And while in the middle of that meeting, there was an explosion that many are saying targeted Corneille Nangaa, the spokesperson of the M23 that was also in attendance in that meeting. He is a person that has been very visible in different parts of eastern DRC as the face of M23 to rally people together, to come together and support the M23 in their quest to go to Kinshasa. And while it is still early to say, many are pointing to the direction that while Corneille Nangaa himself escaped that explosion, it is possible that there are people who have lost their lives because of that particular explosion in Bukavu at that rally. And definitely this explosion now has tipped the scales on the conflict in eastern DRC. Because right now, as the recommendations were given by the EAC and SADC joint meetings, there were recommendations that there should be a ceasefire, that there should not be any military or targeted attacks against anyone on either side as negotiations were continuing. But right now we've had an attack against the M23. And of course they are going to wonder and try to solve that puzzle of who exactly targeted the leaders of the M23. And of course, there is going to be some retaliation because people have lost their lives and the ceasefire now has been broken. And the attempt against Corneille Nangaa is not a special case when you are looking at the crisis in Eastern DRC. Just the other week, we were talking about Colonel Makanika, who was also targeted by the Congolese army, and that particular attempt was successful because Colonel Makanika lost his life in a drone attack by the Congolese army. So we are seeing now targeted attacks at people who are leaders in the M23 by the Congolese government. And this explosion that happened in Bukavu now complicates the conflict even further, because right now different parties are starting to blame each other of who could have possibly done that, because many innocent lives have been lost as a result of this explosion that happened in a rally full of people. So people are going to start blaming each other. These were not combatants, these were innocent people. Be they people who went there at will or not, these are innocent lives that should not have been lost in that particular rally. We'll keep following up on what is happening in Eastern DRC now that the scales will have been tipped in terms of the conflict, and also the international community, how the international community will respond to that particular attack. Because right now we've been seeing the international community leaning so much on the Congolese side, sanctioning people in the M23 as well as Rwanda. But right now, the victim has been the M23. What will the international community do? What will be South Africa's take on this? Because it is a major player in assisting the Congolese government to fight the M23. What will be the statement from South Africa of what is happening right now in Bukavu? As well as we'll be very keen to understand also what will Rwanda say regarding this particular incident. What will the East Africa community say regarding this explosion that has cost the lives of many people, innocent people, who are attending this rally in Bukavu?
Banapiga bombe. Ona isi watu wanakimbia. Yesu. Mungu wewe nikisinaangusha watu chini. Mame naua watu. Ndio naua watu wabanikuwa sur place situation kwa wapi? Mungu wa mbinguni hema.
Watu wananguka. Unaona mama iti pale?